Tonight on Grady Newsource, we're taking a different approach.
That's right, Aria. Usually we tell you about the issues, but right now we're bringing you the solutions.
First, we take you inside a nonprofit providing a home for the homeless.
Then out to Barrow County, where one animal shelter is going digital to fight overcrowding.
And later, how one Athens organization is empowering people with disabilities one paint stroke at a time. All of these solutions and more live at 5.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College of the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
Good evening, I'm Donna Traylor.
And I'm Aria Circa. Our news coverage tonight may look a little different than what you're probably used to.
That's because today we are bringing you special coverage focusing on solutions journalism, a different approach to reporting where we dig deeper to highlight people providing solutions to problems in their communities.
Stories like these can offer a great lesson because they provide insight to others on how they could implement similar ideas in their own neighborhoods.
That's right, and we're excited to showcase some of our more in-depth reporting from this semester. And we hope that these stories inspire others to take a more holistic approach to covering the news.
Our first story out of Oconee County looks to do just that.
When many individuals age out of the foster care system, they are often left helpless and in some cases homeless. I stopped by one nonprofit that's trying to solve this problem.
Imagine trying to balance recently becoming an adult and going to college while living without a support system.
There's a gap, I think, often in services for children exiting foster care. Right? There's a lot of attention to care for children when they're in, before they turn 18. But once they turn 18, it's like, okay, who is there for these kids?
Lydia's Place works to answer that question. It is a nonprofit organization in Watkinsville that helps 17 to 24-year-old students who have recently experienced foster care or homelessness.
We provide a mentorship, accountability, community, and independent living skills, as well as a place to live.
These individuals are recommended to Lydia's Place through foster caregivers, DFACs, and school systems. Since it began in 2017, Lydia's Place has helped over 100 students prepare to launch, which means they are ready to live on their own. Caitlin Oldham and Sylvie Leonard launched from Lydia's Place in 2019 and 2022. Both were homeless and living in their car before they started the program, which changed their lives.
The biggest benefit to me would be the fact that there was that support group, because I didn't have too many positive influences in my life. And, yes, they did help with like food and things like that were really important at the time. But like the long-term benefit, I think, is just that networking and like having a support group.
They always pumped us full of encouragement and motivation to just keep going and always acknowledging that what you've been through is hard, but that's not who you have to be anymore.
One of the limitations of Lydia's Place is their small outreach. However, in 2024, they will be working with Habitat for Humanity to gain 30 more units available to help students. For Grady Newsource, I'm Donna Traylor.
Donna, that sounded like a really interesting story.
I mean, it really was, but one thing that you didn't get a chance to see is that they have this boutique there, and it offers services and clothes to some of the same people that they have housing for all the time. I mean, this is a boutique that is housed downstairs in their organization, and it is complete with all of these free clothes and shoes that you see here. And they receive all of them through donation. I mean, it looks like a real store. They even have fitting rooms that are available for lots of the people who attend the boutique. I mean, it was really so nice. And aside from that, they're actually having a dedication tomorrow at 4 p.m. with Athens Habitat for Humanity for their home place. So Lydia's Place and Athens Habitat, they joined together, and the two organizations are expecting there to be a big community turnout, and they will have a lot of time that they're gonna spend together and kind of celebrate all of the events of both of these organizations.
Yeah, it's really interesting you mentioned this boutique because a nonprofit organization back over in Jackson County is almost doing the same thing. They're working to solve another overlooked issue in foster care. Grady Newsource reporter Nicole Norvell tells us more.
How about we do heavy jacket, light sweater jacket?
These racks of clothes aren't for sale, but are actually donations for foster children and kids in need. Fostering Hope Clothes Closet is a collection of gently used and new clothing that operates out of Galilee Christian Church in Jackson County and provides garments, shoes, and emergency items to children in need. Here I'm inside the main room that Fostering Hope uses to store all of their clothes. Co-founders Tiffany Rayer and Kimberly Hardy began Fostering Hope 6 years ago to address the issues in the supply of clothing to children in the foster care system. Generally, foster families receive an allowance from the state to spend on clothes and sanitary items.
It can be challenging because there's like a sort of a monthly stipend that foster parents are allowed to spend.
The problem with that is that it could take a few weeks for the foster parent to get it, or their allowance could have already been spent.
Fostering Hope fills this gap by providing the foster families with a whole new wardrobe that they can keep the day they arrive. Former foster parent Katie Bryson retells how the nonprofit helped her when she took in a foster child in the middle of the night.
We would get a phone call at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I would send a message at night to Fostering Hope. I have a child this age, this size. Can you guys help me out? And in less than 24 hours, I have an entire wardrobe for that child.
The group of moms began the organization on Facebook, where they asked the community for donations. Fostering Hope quickly grew from there, and they continue the majority of their outreach on the platform today. Fostering Hope has increased the number of people they have helped since last year. Altogether, they have helped 2,485 individuals in total.
Fostering Hope provides a service to families that most people don't realize is a need. You just don't know it's there.
But due to their growth, the organization will need more volunteers and more space. For those looking to replicate the program in your area, the members stress that organization is crucial to ensuring everything runs smoothly. But when it comes to Fostering Hope's success, it's all due to their genuine care for other people.
We love people, and if you don't truly, truly love and care, it wouldn't work.
Nicole Norvell, Grady Newsource.
While many animal shelters sometimes face overflow, one local shelter seems to be taking a step in the right direction. Grady Newsource reporter Madison Harwell finds out how one group of volunteers are improving the lives of animals.
Pet adoption was at an all-time high during the COVID-19 pandemic, according to Barrow County Animal Control, but now they are facing an overflow.
Dogs just keep coming in. They just won't. From where I was 3 years ago to now, our shelter, I think, has been the most full that I've seen.
Years ago, these volunteers came together to create a social media presence for the shelter. Now, battling this overflow, they are more dedicated than ever to updating pet profiles weekly.
I get all of the new dogs who have come in over the past week, and I take those dogs out, take them for a walk, take their photos, get to know them a little bit, make a collage, and then we post those to Facebook.
Go under to photos, and there's a current available list.
That's important, is to keep a presence out there and to be consistent with that, as well as giving them a name, trying to make them have a personality.
I would zoom in for a cutie one. You see how she has her tongue out like that?
Yeah. About 50% of all walk-ins hear about these pets through Facebook, according to the shelter. The volunteers' presence on Facebook has led to many successful adoption stories.
I send things to people now that I know that are looking for dogs, and actually one of her friends' mother adopted 2 dogs from up here, and then she brought her friend up who adopted a dog from up here, all because of me forwarding the Facebook thing to her.
The challenge for shelters looking to implement this approach is depending on volunteers to show up and run the social media accounts. Yet this solution seems to be the answer, according to Kaylin.
Open up the social media for the, shelters. It's the biggest way, because right now with the way the economy's going, everybody's inundated. I mean, anything like that could help save an animal's life.
Grady Newsource, Madison Harwell.
Feeding America says that 1 in 10 Americans are food insecure. When we return, we introduce you to 2 Athens area groups striving to address hunger in their community.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
You know, a lot of people say, when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago, in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a 4th ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
Some Barrow County students are living off of school lunches, often going home Friday and not getting a meal all weekend. Grady Newsource reporter Mary Lou Masters tells us how a local nonprofit is trying to address this issue one bag at a time.
The Weekend Food Bag program ensures that no child has to wait until Monday for their next meal. 10 Barrow County schools receive weekend food bags from New Path 1010.
The immediate problem is those kids who go home on Friday and aren't going to have anything to eat. So it's a good way to fill in and meet that immediate kind of a need.
School counselors and teachers observe and recognize when children are hungry and when their families are in need.
New Path's mission is to stop generational poverty. As we partner with the school system trying to help them get these kids out of poverty and get these kids healthier, safer.
Each week, around 300 weekend lunch bags are packed right here on Monday mornings and are later dropped off to the schools on Thursdays. Along with the food, an encouraging note is put into the bags, and Stacy Dupre, parent volunteer coordinator at Heyman Morris Middle School, lines her file cabinet doors with them.
I always read them and I always save them, just going over and beyond what they could be doing. They could just throw some food in a bag, but it's not just about that for them. It's about really touching their lives, and I think they have.
In a survey sent out to the students, 92.85% said that the weekend food bags help their family. While the identities of the students who receive the bags is kept confidential, it is clear how much of an impact the program has, even on those as young as elementary school students.
We had a student who literally wrote a pass and came to the office. Am I going to get my meal bag this week? Well, you haven't called me, and you always call me at X time. And you haven't called me yet, and so I didn't think I was going to get my bag this week.
Their funding comes from donations and grants, and they do their shopping mainly from Sam's Club, but shortages due to the pandemic have made sourcing the food difficult. For Grady Newsource, I'm Mary Lou Masters.
While New Path does not provide food bags over the summer, they double bag for Thanksgiving and Christmas break.
With a few days left before Thanksgiving break, New Path is packing and dropping off the extra bags this week.
Staying on the subject of food insecurity, with the holiday season upon us, Grady Newsource reporter Ben McKettrick walks us through a nonprofit's new twist to fighting hunger in Northeast Georgia.
With inflation on the rise and groceries continuing to increase in price, families are finding it harder to put food on the table. For Athens area and North Georgia residents, the solution can be found inside the box. Religious nonprofit There's Hope for the Hungry partners with churches around North Georgia to provide groceries for community members in need once a month. The goal for this nonprofit? To spread its religious mission while decreasing food insecurities.
Our purpose in life is to try to help people with their physical needs by providing food, but also we come along to try and help with their spiritual needs as well.
Since its creation in 2003, There's Hope for the Hungry says it has fed more than 1 million people, including 250,000 children. In this year alone, it has helped almost 10,000 families. However, the nonprofit, along with its churches, has faced some limitation in bringing notice to its trips.
From a numbers perspective, though, we're not necessarily worried about the numbers so much, but as far as wanting the word out so that we can reach as many people as possible, that can be problematic.
There's Hope for the Hungry travels just north of Athens to Moons Grove Baptist Church on the fourth Wednesday of every month. During their trip to Moons Grove in September, the nonprofit fed just over 30 families, including Madison County resident and four-time beneficiary Shane Eklund.
It's been a great help. With financial stuff right now is getting hard, I know, for a lot of people.
Outside of Moons Grove Baptist Church, There's Hope for the Hungry partners with multiple churches around the Athens area, including the First Baptist Church of Carl and Bear Creek First Baptist Church. Reporting for Grady Newsource, Ben McKettrick.
There's Hope for the Hungry most recently traveled to Commerce, Georgia this morning for its monthly trip to Crossroads Worship Center. The nonprofit visits 3 other Athens area churches every month.
On the first Monday, it travels to Barrow County to set up shop at the First Baptist Church of Carl. Then, on the first Tuesday of the month, There's Hope for the Hungry visits another Barrow County church, the Bear Creek First Baptist Church. And it returns to Moon Grove Baptist Church next Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving.
Now parents, your students work so hard during the year, but when the holidays roll around, much of that learning gets dumped. Up next, how one Athens nonprofit is preventing learning slide.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far.
A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
The judge. Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
You're home before sunrise. On top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Books for Keeps gave away over 58,000 books this year, which is the most it has ever donated in a single year. Grady Newsource reporter Michael Doty attended one of these fairs and shows you how kids can find not only books to read for fun, but also some to help them keep their reading skills sharp.
These children probably wouldn't have access to these books if it wasn't
for Books for Keeps. Not all kids in school have access to library books over the summer, and if they don't read, they can suffer from what is referred to as summer slide, which occurs when children lose some of their literacy skills from the previous school year over the summer and start the next year behind. The solution Books for Keeps provides is to keep children with enough books all year.
We weren't just slowing and stopping summer slide, we were actually reversing summer slide, where kids were coming back better readers than they left the previous spring semester.
Children and their parents purchase books for free through Books for Keeps' annual fall book fair. They have plenty of genres to choose from travel books to cookbooks to kids' chapter books, and so many more. Anyone who comes is allowed to acquire up to 100 books per day, and that could be up to 400 books in a single weekend.
It's been convenient for families, and I know probably every cross-section of Athens has come out for the fair, so that's been really nice.
But some children may not like to read books. Dr. Scott Arduin says it could be due to the lack of variety of books in school.
So oftentimes in school we don't necessarily do a great job in using diversity in regards to what materials we're providing students with access to.
Bray agrees that kids need to read books they're interested in.
It's all about empowering kids and empowering people to read what they want to read, and that's how you continue to build a foundational level of literacy in our communities.
For Grady Newsource, this is Michael Doty.
Over in Madison County, a group of volunteers created a solution for people with disabilities who need help with everyday tasks such as leaving their house. Grady Newsource reporter Sarah Train tells us about a place that is making places more accessible.
If you spend enough time driving through Madison County, you'll see at least one or more of these wooden ramps attached to various homes. More than likely, these were built by a group of volunteers from the Madison County Rotary Club. Founded in 1995, the club started out as a food delivery service called Meals on Wheels and then developed into a much bigger idea.
Somebody that was delivering came up on this house that he was delivering meals to, and he watched the man crawl out of his truck and crawl into his house, and he had polio.
Edward Brown, the chairman of the RAMP program, says they do it for two reasons. First, to help people of old age in the county that need help getting in and out of their homes.
The other thing is, if there's an emergency at a residence, we want to make sure that the people in the residence can get out, or EMTs can get in easily and get out.
Many members of the Rotary Club were once recipients themselves, or had family members who were in desperate need of a ramp.
And they came out about 2 years ago and put a ramp in, and now my wife cannot go up or down steps, so the ramp is really invaluable to us.
When building the ramps, Brown states that the club must abide by the regulations and limitations stated in the American Disability Act.
For every inch off the ground, where you're going to do the ramp from, the ramp has to be that many feet long. You don't want it too steep.
While volunteers build ramps every week, Kimsey says it can be a challenge to fulfill everyone's needs.
We get probably 2, sometimes 3 requests for ramps a week. With us only doing 1 a week, there's just no way we can keep up.
With all the work that the Rotary Club does for their peers, it's no wonder that the community shows their support.
We take donations. The donations help us. If somebody wants to pay for the materials, that helps us do the next one and the next one and the next one.
For Grady Newsource, I'm Sarah Train.
They seem like they're so thankful for all the work that they do. Anyways, up next, how one Athens group is helping people with disabilities find an artful way to express themselves.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually, once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers, he connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far.
A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please. I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
One organization in Athens is addressing the difficulties that adults with disabilities face in a world that's just not made for them. I had the chance to visit Lovecraft, a nonprofit that is educating and empowering this community through art.
Include, empower, and educate are the 3 words Lovecraft uses to describe its mission. This nonprofit organization's goal is to create an environment of inclusivity for adults with disabilities. Lyric Barrett has been coming to Lovecraft for over a year. She spends her time there making pottery to sell on the organization's website. Barrett sat down to show me the steps to creating the Christmas luminaries that they will sell around the holidays.
So you're gonna press, you're gonna press in there, yep. Yep, press hard. When I come into a place like this, it gives me nothing but joy, nothing but peace, nothing but happiness. And it also gives me the brighter day of my whole entire day.
Susan Fontaine, founder and president of Lovecraft, was once a special education teacher and discovered there was not a place for those with disabilities to go after they left high school.
This is just like such a hidden subgroup, it's just so underserved and people are undereducated about it.
Lovecraft fronts as an art studio, but the attendees, better known as the crew, learns more than just about making pottery. What the crew learns while creating art can translate into life skills that they can use in the real world. Claire Corfus, a registered behavior technician, says art can be a great starting skill for these adults.
Things like art and things like music and things like movement lead to conversation skills, and it just gives them a different outlet.
Many of the crew members go to Lovecraft 3 days a week, where they have assigned jobs along with creative time to work on music, visual art, and pottery. Fontaine says that transportation has been her main challenge in her effort to help this community.
Transportation, huge issue. Number one issue is can they get here and can they get here consistently?
Fontaine has now started to partner with Wheels of Hope to help with transportation needs. Since opening in 2018, Lovecraft has served 40 adults with 30 crew currently still attending weekly and 8 crew supported with DIY business projects. Lovecraft hopes to continue serving their crew while educating the community.
That's what we want to continue to encourage the community is, differences don't have to be scary. They can be wonderful.
For Grady Newsource, I'm Aria Circa.
Oh, Aria, that seemed like such a sweet story, but that's all that we have for you right now. But if you enjoyed seeking solutions with us tonight, you won't have to go far to find more of the people making a difference in your communities right now.
Just whip out those phones or hop on your laptop and head over to Grady Newsource Digital, where we continue our solutions reporting.
For all of us here at Grady Newsource, have a good night.
cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie. So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Time early, super early actually. It all ran pretty smoothly on our end. I mean, nothing, don't have a whole lot to say on that end. Great last Wednesday show, great next to last show. It's really good.
Smooth airing of our show, and
probably
we
the
really
calmest
appreciate it.
Probably the calmest I've heard us been on that side of the glass, so it was good.
Well, full disclosure, all these packages were ready. You know, we've played them before with a few exceptions. We didn't, Nicole's wasn't played before and Aria's was brand new, but the rest of them were all pre-made. So this was just a compilation of all the great work, the most complex work that they did so far. That was the solutions journalism, which you as my future student will try.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all on my end. Thanks.
Thank you. So guys, I'm really proud of this. Was even better than, you know, if Mondays was an awesome show. This was wonderful. Thank you again, Harper. You did a great job putting it all together, fitting all the pieces of the puzzle, and he had great material to work with. What I would recommend is, I was just watching again your stories, and what I missed is like, I wish I had insisted that you all have stand-ups in those stories, because Mary Lou's was, you know, it's like she did a stand-up. The few of you who did stand-ups, it added a lot to your stories. So that's what I would recommend as, you know, I let you fly out of the nest. Just consider, you know, doing stand-ups in your stories. It takes them to another level. All the stories were just amazing. You found very meaningful, local, uplifting projects and programs that I think will be very helpful to people in our community. Wanted to say how happy I am, Aria, that you didn't give up and you still, that was a beautiful story, very well told, and I'm glad that you started actually with lyric instead of the way you had it structured before. I think it worked wonderfully. She was just such a great character, and when you have a great character, start with a character, because it really draws people in. People love people and they relate to people. So some of you struggled with beneficiaries due to confidentiality, and you still found some workarounds to actually present them like Mary Lou did. But when you have that beneficiary, it made such a huge difference to the story, because we actually saw the real person who was getting the benefit of this solution. And there are very few, as you heard from the Solutions Journalism Network, I think it was Michael who said on Monday that they don't get so many stories of tiny local communities and small organizations where people are really working, volunteering, and doing their best to solve problems, big problems in their communities. And that is what you did with these stories. And I know it wasn't easy. I know this was the most, I would say it's the pinnacle of what you did, because it required extra human sources, really finding these stories. And I'm really, you know how much I feel, how deeply I feel about solutions journalism. So you made me proud another time. And I wanted to hear, Arya, from you, because you were really reluctant, you really struggled with finding that story. So I just wanted to hear from you. What are your thoughts now that you accomplished that?
Yeah, so I had one story, you know, when I was supposed to do my sojo, and I was really passionate about it because it was something I was really interested in, and I was excited about it. So when it wasn't really coming together, I tried to force it together, and it just wasn't there yet. The organization wasn't completely evolved yet. So then I started to look for other things, but I wasn't, like, I didn't want to give up on the fact that I wanted to do something that covered art, because I wanted the solution to be something that could mean something to me too. So I just started looking up organizations, and then randomly my roommate came home, and she is a she's getting her MA in nonprofit management. And she said, I just went on a field trip to this amazing place, and it's called Lovecraft. And I was like, Lovecraft? That's not. And she told me about it, and I looked it up, and it just came together so easily and so wonderfully, and I really enjoyed.
Yeah, it was a beautiful, beautiful story, and you did it very well again with your amazing visual storytelling. You have an eye for video and putting stories together, and so I'm really happy that that you finally, you sort of stumbled upon it, but you know, people stumble when they seek. So it wasn't so easy. You really, you stumbled on it because you were looking. And that is why I appreciate all your efforts, because I know that it's not easy to find that kind of story, because as Arya said, there are many stories that are like on the cusp of being solutions, but they're not quite there yet because they haven't been implemented long enough. They haven't shown results, which are really important. So I'm happy that you stumbled, but you wouldn't have stumbled on it if you hadn't looked. So I'm happy. I want to say how much I enjoyed the dual anchoring, both on Monday and today. The two of you have amazing chemistry. And just, you know, be very careful. Why are you laughing? Share something.
Yeah. It was just because the two of us are both really silly, acting goofy, and so trying to be serious and like get ready to go into today, and even filming like the Grady Daily earlier, we were just cracking so many jokes and being so silly, but it helped to not be as nervous as usual, to have somebody there.
Yeah.
That's something that I definitely noticed. Like, it was a lot easier to kind of bounce off someone else, even though we didn't do that much interacting. It still was like comforting to, you know, have her there with me, and it made the process, I feel like, a lot easier than it was before. But it was just funny because we just had so many times we were just sitting there like cracking up and laughing about like
I loved it.
Stuff.
We were watching you, actually. We were spying on you here in the newsroom. You were on camera. Always, you know, if you're in front of a camera, somebody might be watching you. But that was what was the experience for you, Arya, the dual anchoring?
I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was, I wish we weren't so tight on time, so that there could be a little bit more banter and a little bit more like funness. And also, you know, we can't have too much fun when we're covering stories such as these. So I wish we would have done more of it this semester. I think it would have been fun.
Yeah, well, we were able to do it with these shows because there was no weather and sports. So when we have our regular news shows, we do have two more anchors who are doing, and that's why we started doing weather and sports live. And you had an extra pop into the A block with a special weather or sports related package. So I was happy that we were able to use more the anchors who were doing sports and weather. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to have two anchors because there's just not enough for you to do if we have a weather and a sports anchor there. And so I wanted each one of you in this rotation to get a lot of anchoring, as much as possible news anchoring within one show, so that you had something you could use from that show for your portfolios. I felt like you wouldn't have enough experience if you, because we have the weather and the sports anchors. So I'm glad that we got to do a few dual anchored shows. We're going to do with the last one on the 5th. We're also going to do a co-anchoring. Mary Lou and Harper will co-anchor. And please have fun with that last show and have a blooper at the end so we can laugh a little bit. And think of students do different things because of COVID. It kind of damped down students' creativity, but now, we're back to sort of a new normal. So, they couldn't even be together at the end to throw out their scripts in the air and things that they did as a group. So, you can go back to, I'm not saying you should do that, but you can go back to doing fun things, as a memory of your time together. So, give it some thought. You've got some time to give it some thought. I've given you some ideas as to what you could do, maybe a reflection from your beat, what were the most memorable moments, or if there was one person you met that really struck you and touched your heart, or an aha moment where you learned something that you never knew before, or something unexpected happened. You can show video or a sound bite, or just, I'm throwing out ideas. You make it your own. I don't want to interfere and tell you what to do. Ben wants to produce it, and Jason wants to EP it. Justin, I keep calling him Jason. I have a Jason in my other, and they look alike. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, so thank you for correcting me. Yeah, so I am really happy. I took some notes, but I just want to hear from you and anything you would like to share, any reflections. Speaking of reflections, this is sort of one of your very last shows. And if anybody wants to share something that they learned, something that they wish they could do, or Arya, you mentioned that you never had a live shot that worked. Do you want to do something to have for your portfolio for the last show, to have a live shot or something? Think about that. And so think about, the last show, if you want to do something that you didn't get a chance to do, and that you want to do. But everybody had, you could have fronted one of your packages as other people did. Yeah. But there had to be a news peg reason for you to be there. But think about whether you want to add that to your portfolio and do a live shot from somewhere. And talk to Ben. He's going to be the producer. Tell him that you want to do this, so that when so when you're pitching your last stories, think about what you want to do, and if there are little gaps and blanks in your portfolio. Guys, I see we're all very tired, so if I can let you go earlier, if you don't have any questions for me or something you can share, you want to share, I'm all game for you to leave a few minutes early. You've earned it. You worked really hard, and we'll have a little bit of a celebration on the 5th, but before that, we have Job Talk on Monday. It's on Zoom. Join 5 minutes before 10 and have questions. Think about the things that all these diverse experts can help you in your career. I've specifically selected them to bring you different viewpoints to be of help to you, I hope. So love you very much, and thank you for making me so proud. And I will see you on Zoom on Monday, and then individually in my office for your individual sessions. And after this Monday is the Pardon? Job talk?